Did you know you can eat healthy without giving up flavor or fun? I didn't know that until I discovered Washington red raspberries. They're a clean, simple, and seriously delicious way to add more nutrition to your day. American grown by American farmers, picked at peak ripeness, and frozen within hours to lock in nutrients like fiber, antioxidants, and vitamin C. Washington red raspberries have no added sugar, just fruit, as nature intended. I love eating a handful as a snack throughout my day, and if I'm feeling fancy, I'll swirl some into yogurt or top off a salad. They're such a great summer treat. I won't gatekeep this anymore. Frozen Washington red raspberries are one of the best kept secrets in the freezer aisle, and make sure to look for Product of the US on the bag. Want to discover new ways to use American frozen red raspberries and get more details on where you can grab a bag of these delicious berries? Go to redraz.org. That's redrazz.org. You'll find recipes, health tips, retail locations, and everything you need to make frozen Washington red raspberries a regular part of your routine. Hi, I'm Yue Shu.
And I'm Julie Kraftchick.
We're active daters turned dating insiders.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to Dateable. Hello, friends.
Welcome to another episode of Dateable. In fact, the last of our on-off season. We're almost ready for season 21.
You're almost out of situationship island.
Yeah.
Back into our real relationship. Not that this isn't real. This is so real. This is all real.
In 21, we're ready to party. We're in the adult stage.
Is anybody ready to party? Like, do kids still get excited about turning 21? Because they've been drinking since they were like 12, and then they probably get sick of it by the time they turn 21.
Or a lot of people don't even drink anymore. It's like doesn't have that cool factor anymore, I don't think. I don't know.
It doesn't. I think it lacks a cool factor because kids can access alcohol so much easier than our age. It was way harder for us in high school to get alcohol than it is today.
What did you do on your 21st birthday?
Oh my God, I got blackout drunk. I went to the Black Cat in San Francisco. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. No longer there.
Wait, not the jazz place.
Not the jazz place.
The cat club?
Or is it the big black pussycat? I don't know. Something with cat. It had a cat
This
in the
might
name
have been
of it.
before my time.
It definitely closed down,
Okay.
but it's a nightclub.
Okay.
It had a cat in it. Maybe it's not the Black Cat.
I was thinking you were at like the jazz club, and I'm like, that's pretty classy for 21.
That is so fancy.
Yeah.
To be in college and being like, I'm going to do my 21st at a
That's what I
jazz
was
club.
thinking. I was like, damn, you really
And
classed
nobody
it up.
showed up. My grandparents showed up.
They're like, where are the tequila shots?
It was some big club. I remember there were only like 2 big clubs in San Francisco when I was going to college, and this was like the bigger one. So we went there. I went with my boyfriend at the time and a bunch of girlfriends, and I got blackout drunk. My boyfriend drove. On our way back across the Bay Bridge, I threw up.
Oh my God.
Out the window
Oh my God.
onto the Bay Bridge. It was very cinematic
Epic.
for the cars behind us.
Were there other people in your car too?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All my girlfriends, they were like, is she yakking out the window right now? And I couldn't even say anything. I just couldn't control it. I guess that's a successful 21st birthday. I don't remember much else. I just remember drinking, dancing, and then yakking.
Wow.
What did you do?
Ooh, on my 21st birthday. So it was in Boston. It was in the summer. And I remember like we all went to like one of my friend's house to like pregame, and then just went to different bars in the area that we went to in college. And when I went to one bar, they were like, wait, haven't you been coming here for years? So I had my fake ID.
Oh, shit.
I finally showed them my real license. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Yes. And I am also just turning 21.
Yes, and.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I like hit up all the bars that I already went to, which was kind of funny in a weird way, but also like not that interesting.
So did you have a fake ID?
Yeah, I had a fake ID. It was a Vermont ID. My friend My friend, she worked at some like call center in like the summer. Like, some guy from
Oh,
the call center like made fake IDs on the side. So
what?
he got like me and all my friends from college, like 10 of us, Vermont IDs.
Vermont.
And we would roll in like 10 deep and we all had the same ID. And
Just
like,
visiting from
yeah.
Vermont.
But they were pretty good.
Oh
Like
my God.
there was a time that they took out the book on me, like at the
Uh-huh.
liquor store, and they
Yeah.
compared it and they let me go. Like,
Because it had your picture on it.
yeah, it had my picture, it had my name. Yeah. I was like,
And you just
shit.
have to,
Is
was
this
it
going to
your
be used
actual birth?
against me now? Like, should I be putting this out there?
Right? I mean, we all had, we
Everyone
all
had a
used
fake ID.
IDs. I didn't have a fake ID, but I just, this is what happens when you go to a predominantly Asian
Oh, yeah.
college. We just stand in line. There's like always an older girl at the front, and she would just pass her ID down the line.
They're like, I've seen 10 different people with the same
Honestly,
name.
and the bouncer is just like, what? Did I just see this ID? And we're like, don't be racist.
Yeah.
I think we all use this girl Leslie's ID
My
because she was 2
God.
years older. She'd be like, come on, girls. And we just line up behind her and we just pass it down one by one. And then when my friend
God.
May turned 21, I would just use her ID, but we would just go out, the two of us together, and she would just pass it to me. Like, okay. Yeah, I never had a fake ID. It's just used all my older Asian girlfriends' IDs.
That's really funny.
But I did have to memorize some birthdays, though. That was hard. That was the
Mm.
hardest thing when they test you on the birthday.
Well, that was like why the fake one was good, because they would put your real street address. They would
So you
put
have to memorize that.
your real birthday minus the different year.
Yeah,
And
you just have to
then-
memorize a year.
Yeah. And then one time, though, they were like, what's the capital of Vermont? And we were like, ugh. I do remember that one time my friend got really frazzled. They were like, what's your middle name? And she's like, we're like, it's your real middle name. Like, it's not a different name.
Wait, what is the capital of Vermont?
Montpelier.
Oh,
But I
I
think
would
like
not
we
know
all
that.
thought like Burlington. Yeah.
So did nobody get that?
No. And they were like, you guys gonna leave. I have so many crazy stories with fake IDs, like thinking about it. I think because I went to school in the city too. Like I went to school in Boston, and like it was so part of our like college life. Like every Thursday, like we all went to bars. And if you like couldn't get in, like you were basically,
what would you do?
you wouldn't go out. So
You
like
wouldn't go out.
at like the first couple years, there were like these two bars that we like basically just like didn't care, or they were 18 plus. And then like once you got in, it was fine. But then like after that, we started to go to ones that actually did cards. So you kind of needed to get your ID.
Is it like, because I would imagine this is like what I was thinking about going to school if you went to school at NYU or Columbia, because you're going to school in the city and there's a bunch of other schools in the city too. So do you run into people from the other schools a lot?
Yes and no. I think it's less than you think. Like I think because every area, like people stay really close to like the school.
Oh, I see.
So like sometimes there's crossover, but there were like BU bars and BC bars and like Northeastern bars. But there were times like I think if you had a friend at another school, like then that crossover would happen. Like I remember there was like this one party every year we went to that was like a Northeastern party, and it was like at this like crazy house, and like but we only got there because like one of my friends was like friends with someone that went there.
I see. So you're not, okay. And then the Cambridge people would never come out of Cambridge.
Yeah, like there were times like you could cross over. Actually, MIT, they used to have to do their frats in Boston. There's some like rule. So a lot of them were like near the BU campus. And because like MIT is like all dudes and like BU is like predominantly women, was like 70-30. They would
that
like
worked out well.
They would be like passing flyers out and like really trying to get us to go to their stuff. And like the first year we went to their stuff a lot, but it was like kind of lame. And then like eventually we got to like our stuff and we're like, yeah, we're good. I think it's cool because you could interact with other people, but you also like don't have that bond. Like, I feel like we
Mhm.
got so like entrenched in the people like in college because you would see the same
Mhm.
people over and over that like we weren't really looking for randos, I guess. And like other
Right.
school people, like they kind of either had their own thing going on or like they felt like outside of the, culture, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That's fun though that you could potentially run into people from other schools.
You could, yeah. Again, it was less common, but a possibility.
Mhm. Ah, fun days.
Fun
So
days.
far behind us cuz college is so different now, isn't it?
20 years later. It's crazy.
Oh my
From
gosh.
21.
And now when I go back to a college campus, everyone looks like they're 2. They look like babies.
Well, there's a time I feel like sometimes I'll look at like me and my friends and I'm like, oh, we don't look that old. We don't look like we're in
Now
our
you look at
40s.
pictures.
And then you look at like college kids. I'm like when we went to the college to talk about our book,
Yeah,
Las
they're
Positas,
babies. Yes,
it was
they're
like
babies.
everyone there was really young. And that wasn't even all college kids, but,
Right.
but you could
Yes.
tell the college kids were very young.
Yeah, you forget. You forget because everyone still has their baby face in college.
So if you're in college now and listening, because there may be some of you, enjoy it. Enjoy it. Tell us about your 21st birthday.
Oh my God. Use your retinol now. Skincare routine today. No, you're just like, yeah, things will change. But in college, I remember feeling old.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my gosh, I'm a college girl now. I must look like an adult.
I think it's all a mindset. Wait, you would,
It is for
yeah.
sure. I had an internship in the city in San
Mm.
Francisco. So every Friday I would get dressed up in my corporate outfit and I had a little like not a briefcase, but it was kind of a work bag.
Yeah.
And I would just like get on the bar and I'm like, I'm going to work like a grown ass woman. I'm going to work. What was I thinking? Just thinking I was like such an adult woman. Look at me going to work on a Friday.
Everything is a stage of life. That's for sure. I do remember being really devastated at my college
Mm.
graduation. And I like feel kind of like a brat now, but like my parents threw me like this nice party with like my family. And I was like crying
Mhm.
the whole time because I thought my life
Why?
was like over.
Oh my
I
gosh.
thought life
Why?
was literally over after college. But then my 20s were great, my 30s were great, my 40s are great. So life continues. For anyone that's in college listening, life continues.
You were crying at
I
your
was
college
crying. I really
graduation
thought my
party.
life was done. Like the
It's
peak
pretty on
had
brand.
happened.
This is it.
But it was like a bratty cry. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
sentimental cry. Like I was a
Yeah.
brat. Like my family came in to like celebrate with me and I was like crying in the
Yes.
corner. Like it was pretty bad.
Did they call you out? Or were they like,
I
Julie,
think so. Yeah.
get your shit together? Oh man. Well, yeah, everything is a phase in life, but I have no desire to go to my college reunion. I have friends
Neither
who
do
do.
I.
They love it, but I don't. I already keep in touch with the people that I'm friends with. I don't need to see all the randos.
Yeah, I feel like because I went to such a big school and maybe you did
Mhm.
too, like it feels like it's not really as big of thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what Berkeley's like, but I feel like for BU, like I never get like any announcement really about it.
No.
And like my brother, he goes every year to his, and it's like a really big thing. And I think certain schools is like more of a thing. My
Where did he
sister-in-law
go?
too, UPenn.
Oh,
They have it every year. I think a lot of
I
those
can see that.
schools. Yeah.
I can see that for sure. I do have a group of friends who go, like my friend May and her group of friends. They're a year older than me, and there's like 20 of them. And they go, not every year, but they go for the football game.
Mm.
And then now, and recently, they all started bringing their spouses and their kids. So it's like a thing that they do. Just depends on your friend group, I guess.
Yeah, I had like more of a extended friend group that tried to
Mhm.
organize a bunch of people going.
Mhm.
And it was like, I don't know, maybe if I was local, I would have entertained it. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to like fly across the country for this reason.
No. What about high school? High
Oh
school
God,
reunion.
no. I don't even talk to anyone from high school anymore.
You don't?
No. I feel like I would not. Do you? Well, I guess you have some people you interact with.
I organized my 10-year
Oh
reunion.
my God.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. And never wanted to do it again. It was a really terrible experience. But it's kind of, I feel so far removed from that scene. But I guess if you are local,
Yeah.
it's kind of fun to see everybody.
Why was it the worst experience for you?
I think 10 years out of high school, you're still kind of young.
Yeah.
And I think people were expecting, like, first of all, there was a huge fight over how much it should cost.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So the ticket price was like $34. And there was an uproar of people feeling like that was too much. And it included drinks
Oh
and
my
food and
gosh.
everything. The
You like, could
venue.
not even get that in today's world.
No. But I guess when you're 28,
Yeah.
there could be, you could be like just starting your family, you could be just working. Yes. And also I'm from the small city in Colorado, Fort Collins. So there's just like a discrepancy in earning and what people see as a good value or not. So there was a big fight over that, and people were like rebelling, protesting. They were like, it should be free or it should be
Wow.
under $10.
God.
That was the thing. But then I also remember going to the reunion, and I totally fucked up this girl's name who I was friends with in high school. And I just kept calling her the wrong name. And I didn't realize it till I got home that night. So that's when I said, I'm never going to go to your reunion again. That was just so embarrassing. And you never know. I think it's just like, it's going to happen. You're going to call someone by the wrong name.
Yeah. I just have had no desire. But a reunion I'm happy about is our reunion with John Kim for this episode.
Nice. We love John Kim.
Bringing it back because we have been on a tangent.
We love John Kim. I bet he goes to his high school reunion. I don't know.
Do you think? I don't know. I don't know
why.
No, I would say no. I feel like, okay.
He looks like the type.
We recorded this with John, and I feel like he has had a crazy 2025, to say the least.
Oh,
But he was part of the Altadena fires that happened, and now he's living in Costa Rica, and it seems like he's living an amazing life. So I find his story inspirational in the sense that, like, you know, life can really hand you some stuff, but what do you do with it after? So we're so glad to see that him and his family are thriving in a new location and kind of using this as an opportunity to reset and try something new. Because I think sometimes we can also just get so caught into our lives as they are. So sometimes having a shakeup like this does allow you to like really step back and be like, what else could I be doing? Is there more?
I feel like we had just recorded with him.
We did.
And the fires happened, and he lost everything. It was shocking. I think he is the only person I know who was directly affected by the fires in this sort of way. And he was so great on social media trying to get help for his community and just spreading the word on what was happening. But now I think he's living a very simple life in Costa Rica with his family, and it sounds wonderful. And that resilience is really showing through. And he's always been someone I've admired because he's had multiple lives in his lifetime. Just such a wise person. But seeing him go through this has been a great perspective shift. It really just makes you think about what matters and what doesn't matter.
And we've had him on our podcast a couple of times. We had him for an episode called Single on Purpose, which is from his book, Single on Purpose. And the on purpose is like emphasized. And then Breakup on Purpose is the book that just came out kind of amidst all the like fires and craziness that was happening. His book came out at the exact same time. So that was the episode we did with him last season. So definitely go check those out. We'll also call those out in the show notes, but this is the episode that Yue and I did on his podcast, The Angry Therapist. So yeah, we're huge John Kim fans, and we're excited to bring this episode to you all.
And you're all going to enjoy this episode because John has a way of interviewing where, yes, he follows probably some train of thought, like before he does a little prep work, but then he truly follows his train of thought when he's in interview mode. So you never know where this conversation goes. There may be some surprises for you all.
Okay, before we get into it, go pick up our book, How to Be Dateable. It's on audiobook, on hardcover, Kindle, whatever your jam is, you can get it. So howtobedateable.com links you out to all the bookstores, and you can also go to your local bookstore. We love supporting local bookstores. And in some of the areas that we've been into, there may even be some signed copies around. So
Ooh.
New York City, there's some floating. Boston, there's some floating. San Francisco, LA. So definitely look for us, and we hope you pick it up. And of course, check out John's books as well. Okay. Well, before we get into it, let's hear a message from our sponsors.
As summer winds down, I'm all about refreshing my wardrobe with staple pieces for the season ahead. And Quince nails it with luxe essentials that feel effortless and look polished, perfect for layering and mixing. Their styles are so versatile, I find myself reaching for them time and time again. Think chic cashmere and cotton sweaters starting at just $40, washable silk tops, which I have many of, and classic denim pants. And the best part, everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands, and they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. My current most favorite piece from Quince right now is a button-down linen shirt. I have the matching pants to go with it. Such a great transitional piece, perfect for summer nights right now, and then well into the fall. Elevate your fall wardrobe essentials with Quince. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dateable to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DATEABLE.
Okay, let's hear our episode with John Kim.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about, under the umbrella of one word, which is dateable, but we're going to talk about a lot of topics. Are you dateable? What does dateable look like? My guests today have a podcast and also a brand new book. So the book is called How to Be Dateable. I want to know first, Yue and Julie, how did the podcast start? Dateable.
Yeah, we have a pretty good story. We have a really good meet cute, Julie and I.
Not from Tinder.
I know, I wish. It was the produce aisle. No, we were introduced by a mutual friend, and at the time we were both single but actively dating. And I had just moved to San Francisco from Beijing, actually.
Oh, wow.
I was in Beijing reconnecting with my roots for 2 years. And then I met Julie, and Julie's like, I don't know, I've never used this word, but you're like you were the mayor of San Francisco at the time because you knew everybody. So it was perfect to be connected with Julie. And we were just, every time we got together, we just talked about dating and how much we were very much looking for a relationship, but just couldn't figure out the evolving culture of modern dating. I had come from a very traditional way of dating. I was a dating coach for over 10 years. I knew the rules. I knew the old ways of dating. I knew the old gender rules and roles, but I didn't quite figure out how the new way of dating was like.
I think in all these years that you and I have been doing this is the first time you've ever referred to me as a mayor of San Francisco.
It is. Mayoress.
I'll take that compliment. But yeah, it was a really interesting time because this was back in 2015. And I had lived in San Francisco since 2009. And, dating apps came in the scene in 2012. So it was all very new here. And by the time I met Yue, it was so common to me. But to her, it was this new way. And it was just a really interesting space of like just technology and changing gender roles. And where I was as someone that I considered myself a later bloomer, I had, been dating on apps for years and like finally met someone that I thought was like the one. And then realized like there's a lot more to relationships than just meeting someone amazing. Like there's a lot that needs to come into place. So I think we were just hitting each other at like some really interesting times in our lives and like life and culture.
Yue, when you were in China, how different was that? Or were you single in China for the 2 years you were there?
I was basically single. I did date someone and live with him we lived together for 8 months, but I feel like overall my time there, I was pretty single. And there are two different dating cultures in China, as with, I think, any country. There's the local dating culture and there's the expat dating culture.
Right.
And it's actually funny I say that now because I have no idea what the expat dating culture is in the US
Yeah.
because we date as locals. So
Yeah.
I was part of the expat dating culture, but my extended family, my single cousins, were part of the local dating culture. So I could see how different the two were. And the local dating culture is all about dating to get married. So
Yeah.
everything was very transactional and it was very clear from the get-go. Like you sit down with someone, you have a list of questions to ask them. What kind of job do you have? How much money do you make? Do you own a car? Do you own a house? That's it.
Wow.
And like, if you pass, you stay for the rest of the date. If you don't, it's actually acceptable for you to leave.
Are you interviewing your dates, saying, and this sounds very old school, almost feels like parents setting us up kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
What are you bringing to the table?
Yeah.
What's funny is my cousin met her husband through the singles park. Have you heard about these, John?
No.
There are these areas in public parks in China where parents of single kids would hold up signs that describe their single kid. And then if you are the parent of your single kid and you think there's a match, you go up to that parent and you basically like court the parent first. And then if you decide the parents are a match, maybe your kids could be a match.
So I'm assuming kids, like, they're on the swings. We're talking about young kids. We're not talking about like college kids.
We're talking about, when I say kids, okay, I'm talking about adults in their 30s who are not married.
Oh, wait. So why is this happening in the park? What are the parents doing in the park?
The parents are already retired. You can retire really early in China.
Got it.
And once the parents retire, all they care about is marrying off their kids.
Sure. So they're doing the park is because that's kind of where they hang. Maybe they're playing chess, they're doing the Tai Chi or whatever, and then they hold up signs to connect because they have children they want to set up.
It's where other retired parents hang out.
Yeah.
And so my aunt was walking through that section of the park, saw a sign that described someone who she would like as her future son-in-law, approached the mom. They got along really well. And then they introduced the kids. And then it worked out. Now they're married with a kid.
Wow. That's so interesting. I don't know if that would fly here in the States. I can't imagine our parents doing that. No, that's
it's
a
funny
very Asian thing.
We complain about modern dating here, but it actually isn't as bad as some of that, in my opinion. I can't imagine my parents being that involved.
Yeah.
But, my cousin's like, I don't want to pick. I'm really bad. My picker's off. I don't want to do this. And my mom has all the time in the world and she wants the best for me. So she really trusted her mom to make this decision. And I would say my cousin's husband's pretty damn cool. Like he's a great match for her. But you're right, Julie. It's like we have so much agency in what we experience as dating that we think something like that could be restricting.
Wow. That's so interesting. So you coming out of that, coming here, meeting the mayor, you guys realizing, oh, fuck, how do you navigate this? Dating apps becoming, they're kind of new on the scene and there's a swell there. So you guys say, let's start recording. Let's do a podcast. Let's talk about this and try to help other people.
I think we were both just very confused at the time. We were both like, okay, why isn't, our love lives unfolding the way we want? And let's record, our stories and other people's stories. This was 2016 when we decided to start the podcast, and Serial was really big then. So there wasn't as many of the types of podcasts that are so prevalent now. Right. But we thought it would just be a fun experiment to just learn more about what people were going through. And, our podcast really started off as, let's just share our funny dating stories. And, we've been doing this now for 10 years. Wow. And we've realized that there's just so much more with dating, that it goes so much deeper to obviously the relationships we have with others, but most importantly, the one with ourselves. Yeah. And just we saw how alone people were feeling and just how personal people were taking dating, including ourselves. And this whole time we're like, there has to be like a better way. It just feels like people are miserable, and that's not ultimately getting us to where we all want to be.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's helping so many people just to have this conversation, being transparent with your story, frustrations, and also bringing on other people to talk about this. that in itself, I think, is really therapeutic. People listening in their cars who are frustrated that, we've been turned into baseball cards and who are sick of swipe culture, definitely can find all of this really helpful. And now there's a book. It's called How to Be Dateable. The Essential Guide to Finding Your Person and Falling in Love. First of all, how was it? Because I'm an author as well. How was it co-writing a book? Was it seamless, or did you guys hate each other? Because it's your friends.
Well, we had just spent some time on our annual retreat together, in person. So we don't hate each other.
Yeah.
It
was
was
a personal thing, right?
It's it's a personal thing, and also it took us I think the beginning part was very challenging because it took us a bit to figure out what our strengths were separately. I think, theoretically, you just go, oh, okay, everybody just takes alternate chapters. That's what we were thinking. Like, let's alternate chapters. Let's write. And I will tell you, I don't know my strengths yet, but I know my biggest weakness is getting words on paper. A blank piece of paper.
Right.
And Julie's strength, among many other strengths, is getting words on paper. Like, she can get the chapters started. Like,
nice.
she has a vision for the book. So I think it worked out really well in that way, that we were able to figure that out.
Yeah, I think overall it was stronger because there were 2 points of view. And, we both could really bounce ideas that we've learned individually, that we've talked about on our podcast before. But we obviously, as you know, John, like when you write a book, you are diving a lot deeper into different concepts and really thinking things through. And, it's like 10 years we've been doing this podcast. We've had like floating thoughts, but writing the book is really like putting them all into that organized way of, okay, now that we know dating is harder than ever before, how do we help people come out of it? Like, what does that actually look like? What's a framework behind it, opposed to, just
a conversation?
All that.
John, how long did it take you to write Breakup on Purpose?
Oh, I hate answering these questions. I write very fast. I write fast because I was a screenwriter for 10 years. And so there were tracks laid early where I would knock out 10 pages a day. I trained myself to write very fast. Part of it was trying to be somebody. And if I didn't, because I wasn't getting paid for it, being kind of a starving artist, if I didn't knock out 10 pages a day, I would be really mad at myself. I would just, and so once I started writing self-help books, and self-help books are actually easier to write than screenplays. I would knock out a book before. So I wrote Breakup on Purpose before I even signed contracts. Like the contracts were going through they're going through my agency. And the thing is that when you're with an agent, and then it takes a while, right? So I probably wrote it like in a month.
Oh, wow.
6 weeks.
Dang. That's impressive.
Okay. I asked that question because the other challenge is it took us about a year to write, and then it's like another year for promotions and all the covers and stuff. A lot could happen in that time.
Yeah.
And even in a month of writing, a lot could happen. And in the time that we wrote this book, I went through a major breakup.
Right.
So I think also accounting for the changes that could happen in life, actually in hindsight, was a really beneficial thing, because we were able to look at the book from different perspectives of a single person and of someone who's in a relationship. But it's crazy, like how much your perspective can change while writing a book.
Yeah, it's like giving birth. Not that I've ever given birth, but it's about nine. It's about nine. So you have the idea, the seed's planted, it starts to grow, and then you say, okay, I got to give birth to this thing, and then 9 months of writing. And then, sometimes painful. Then here it is.
And here it is.
And then the moment where you, because I'm assuming this is your first book, both of you guys?
Yep, this is our first book.
So the moment when you actually get to hold it in your hand.
Yeah.
Isn't that a crazy moment? Yeah. And then there's the moment when you go to a Barnes & Noble or any bookstore, and then you see it on the shelf. Like those two moments are really, really big.
Very much looking forward to that.
It's interesting.
So let's speak. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's really interesting because I think, like, obviously, if this happened, we would be so ecstatic. Like, if everyone all of a sudden 2 years later, just all their dating woes were done. But I think we were like, okay, what if like the dating scene changes? Like, what if some of this isn't applicable? And then 2 years later, we can absolutely say that I
It's the
think
same.
unfortunately it's gotten more painful for people.
Yeah,
Like people
yeah.
feel like it's more discouraging, and that is not a good trend that we want to see. But
Yeah.
I think this book is actually in a way more ripe now than it even was maybe 2 years ago.
I think, I mean, at least I know from clients and friends, I don't know anyone who loves dating apps.
No.
I know people feel like, okay, we have to use it to become a tool. And I think the stats on dating apps, it's like 60% as far as it's very short lived. So people get on it, they look around, they give it a try, and they're off it pretty fast.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I was a weird person that liked it. I was definitely a
I
weird
think you could
person
like
that
it
liked
because it's
it. Yeah.
convenient. And then
Yes.
I always say, like, you got to use the little red spoon at the ice cream, the taster spoon when it comes to dating apps, meaning you can't binge and spend 8 hours swiping.
Totally.
But just a little bit,
Just a
you know,
little
who's
bite.
out there, what's going on, and then kind of put it away and go. Like, I think if you use it almost like entertainment / as a tool, but not as a way to find, the one, it can be sustainable and good.
Well, I think like when I heard people talking about why it was so painful, we heard this on our podcast of just like the amount of time expended on looking at people's profiles, thinking about what to say, all of this, like, I realized I never did any of that. Like I used it very differently. And that's like a lot that we've shared in our book too of, it started off as an intro and that's really all it is. And it's a way to meet people that you wouldn't normally. I think what we've come to believe is that maybe it's the word match. It's like almost the wrong word that these dating apps have like hand selected this person for us. And then we get angry when we're not getting served the right people. But like when you think about it, if you go anywhere, most people you wouldn't want to date.
Yeah.
90% of them you wouldn't. But our expectations are so different with apps.
Yeah, and also just lots of false advertising, lots of people hiding behind phones, the rejection, internalization, like all of that stuff,
Yeah.
Okay, so some things I want to cover from your book, the rom-com versus reality checks, which is a section of your book I thought was really interesting. So, the stuff that we see on the screen to what it is like in real life. So what are some that are rom-coms and then how are they reality checks?
Well, I think this is not a new phenomenon, but we really want to harp on this in the book is that rom-coms get you right when the credits roll. Like they make you feel like, oh, this is a happily ever after, or they found love after that really grand gesture. And we want to say that the story continues, and actually what is more profound in a relationship is after the credits roll. So when you're judging the dating phase of your experience just by the rom-com before credits, then you're actually not setting yourself up for a sustainable relationship because you only care about getting it to the credits rolling. So kind of like the check between the two is, am I thinking about this as a story? Like, is this a story that plays out with a grand gesture and a grand declaration of love? Or is the reality check that this person hasn't demonstrated any actions that align with what I'm looking for in a partner, but they've done all these grand gestures that I've seen on shows and movies, but they're not actually showing up as the partner I want them to be.
Right. I think there's also a lot of filling in blanks early on because there's so many chemicals and like the person can't do anything wrong and you're already thinking about possibly baby names and this
100%.
Yeah, and so when we start getting there, we're not actually seeing the dirty socks on the floor. We're not seeing the coffee grinds or the way someone is holding space or not holding space. We are just seeing what this could be.
Yeah.
And so there's distortion, I think, when it comes to the collision, honeymoon, all of that, the fireworks. And then this is why I say love happens when it gets hard. Love happens when there's activation. Try moving in with someone because you'll find out very quick.
Different sides come out. I mean, I think that's a big piece of where this comes from too. Like in the book, we share some of what we believe are the traps of modern dating, getting in people's ways. And a lot of these are just the culture that we're in. And we really believe that everyone is dateable. It's really just modern dating that's getting in our way. And it's not setting us up for success. In fact, it's setting us up almost to fail.
Yeah.
And we call this like the expectation of love on demand. That's one of the major traps, is that we just think that everything's going to happen instantaneously.
Yeah.
And with the rom-com effect, it's almost like we don't see the work that needs to get put in. So then when something doesn't happen, we either call it too quickly, or we just get ahead of ourselves living in a fantasy rather than like observing reality of the situation.
In the book, you guys talk about the 5 different dating archetypes, which I think is cool. And it reminds me of depth psychology, having these archetypes. What are they? And
we love, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Did you lose me?
No.
Oh, sorry.
You had a follow up.
Let's start with what they are first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. We love this. We love this so much because we've been interviewing like thousands of daters, and we really feel like there are these 5 different buckets that people can fit into multiples. It's not just you're one and done. But this is from all the research we've done, and it really describes someone's attitudes and behaviors when it comes to dating that are serving them, plus the ones that may be getting in their way.
Right.
And the 5 of them actually spell out the word mated, like mate.
We didn't plan that, actually, which is the funny part. We realized that after the fact.
But it's easier for us to remember, too. We're like, oh, yeah, it's made it. But the first one with M, it's me to a T. It's the maverick. This is the person who has high standards in a relationship, who has high standards for themselves, who is very strong in their identity, who is very independent, who has a strong sense of self in a relationship and doesn't lose themselves and can respect their partner's space. So those are kind of the superpowers this person brings to the relationship. But what may be getting in their way / my way is that I run at the first sign of friction or a hard conversation because I feel like that's a threat to my independence or to my identity. And instead of going deep with someone and trying to work through these issues or a hard conversation, I will legitimately pick up my bags go off somewhere else.
Yeah, in my world, that's called the avoidant.
Yeah, very a lot of avoidant tendencies.
Yeah. Okay, so the Maverick. Julie, what are you? What are you?
So we both have my strong ones. I think everyone has a little of each. You usually typically have two dominant ones, but we have seen people have a couple. So mine are the achiever dreamer. So the achiever is, the person that knows what they want. They have their life, vision, like the vision of their life all planned out. They want to get to that next stage in a relationship. They're not afraid to go there. And that can be really great because people tend to know where they stand with you. And it's always good to be with someone that has a plan. But I used to get really ahead of myself and really discouraged, if things didn't go according to a certain timeline and milestones. So it would be very hard. If a date didn't progress past the 3rd date, for instance, it would feel like I wasn't succeeding. And when you put that pressure on yourself, it makes dating really harder than just finding the right partner.
Yeah,
so that was a big one for me.
What's the dreamer?
Yeah, so the dreamer is kind of what we were talking about earlier, a bit of, living in the fantasy a lot.
Yeah.
Has usually, again, wants that big love story more than anything, is that really warm and caring person that sometimes, maybe gives people a few too many chances. But when they find the right person, they bring so much love and passion and energy to a relationship. But you can't really get ahead of yourself thinking that you're in a rom-com or not being in reality and let the wrong people occupy space and time.
Yeah, so I'm the dreamer for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, this sounds like you.
That's very me. Hopeless romantic.
Yes,
and,
hopeless romantic.
Yeah, and early on, anxiously attached. Who I chose to love was my life. and I revolved around, that whole stuff. So just very dreamy, and we all go down together. That'll
Fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
You're feeling.
And the achiever dreamer got me in trouble in my dating life. If I was to look back at some of the things that I wish I did differently, was that I would hold on to people that were clearly not the right fit because I wouldn't want to let go of the progression. And like also have this fantasy of what could be and when they change and all of that. And as we know, it's a lot easier to be with someone that's willing and ready to be in it from day one than trying to like go up that uphill mountain.
Yeah. And then what's the ED? So we have Maverick, Achiever, Dreamer.
Yeah. And we also have the thinker too. So the D was the dreamer. So we have the T and the E left. The thinker, which may also be a little bit of you, John. I'm just going to go on a limb and say that. But this is someone who is consistent, reliable, dependable, kind of like the steady force in a relationship, who has the capacity to work through a lot of conflict. But what may be holding them back is even getting to that commitment, because there's a lot of thinking, a lot of research, a lot of I have to be making the right decision before deciding that you want to make that commitment. So once they're committed, but it just takes a while to get
until
there.
they unsure, or maybe an overthinker. And then once they land, they're all in, kind of thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
A lot of analysis paralysis. Like this is the person we see over analyzing every text to send. And should I do this? Should I do that? Instead of just doing.
I wonder if that's kind of what's happening just in general today with Gen Z, because man, they have so many choices. I grew up in the 80s. I didn't have a lot of choices. Like, if someone was interested in me, you just go with it, even if you weren't, just because when's the next time that's going to happen? And, you go and you just, or like the courage that it takes to walk up to someone and get their number. And if you're able to do that, you're like, oh, it's so much work. Well, I can at least go on this date. Now with just phones, apps, swipe culture, everything is on demand. The amount, whether it's true or not, they believe they have a gazillion choices.
It's because there's a direct correlation to our access to information.
Yeah.
Think about it. When we were growing up, we had access to nothing. There was no internet.
Encyclopedias.
Right, which hold all the answers to your next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Now making a new friend, even. I was talking to a Gen Zer the other day who was like, it's so hard to even make a new friend because I feel like I need to know everything about them before I make that decision to commit time to them.
Right.
And so you see a lot of inaction because of so much information. They're inundated and it's hard for them to sift through all that noise.
Yeah. And some of this, it's applicable for everyone, and it shows up differently depending on your archetype. So like what you were just saying, John, about like the example of, so many options out there. The thinker might not act on them, but the last archetype we have is the energizer. And this is the person that, they bring a lot to the table because they are usually very like energetic and personable and extroverted and just want to do all the things. And that's really great, especially when you're in a partnership. They're usually the super fun date. But the problem that presents to them is that they can really just, not know when to decide on someone and just all the go, go, go. It makes it hard to like really go deep with anyone. And also like people can feel right when they're just like the one of many options that you have lined up. And if you're the one that's filling your calendar like energizers typically do, it can actually prevent you from finding like the person that could be more that deep relationship.
I love that I love that it's a double-edged sword on each. I love that there are pros and cons, and one isn't just like, good and one's bad. I like that.
Totally.
And we want to highlight the fact that the very thing that is attracting you to people, like what people find most attractive in you, may also be what is hindering you. Like it's really interesting to look at that way, what maybe someone may be very attracted to my independence, that I don't, need to be around them all the time. And I want my own space. But then at the same time, I can really push people away. So definitely all of us have that.
I want to dive into this even more, but before we do, let's take a quick break to hear from our partners.
I have a Big question for you guys.
Big question. Wow.
This is a topic in your book, and I thought, I want to ask them because I'm very curious about this. What is your, and I'm going to insert the word current. What is your current definition of love?
Oh.
In the book, you guys talk about definitions of love, and that's right up my alley. And I was like, I love this. And I wonder what their current definition of a love is, right? Like what it is today, not what it used to be.
I think this is a really big point of our book too. We actually talk about it, in our letting go chapter, which kind of starts off the framework, because a lot of our definitions of love are built around what we've seen in the media and just what society tells us love is. And that's not realistic a lot of the times. It goes back to what we were talking about at the start, the rom-com versus reality. And when our expectations are on rom-com, we get really thrown off when reality sets in. And I shared this in the book, but like for me, I was in this on again, off again relationship for close to 5 years. And for me, it felt normal in the sense that it had the excitement and the passion and the stuff that you think is love. And it really took doing this podcast, understanding my patterns and why I thought this was what love was, to realize that actually I viewed love as quite the opposite. And to your question of what is it now, to me, it's feeling safe. It's feeling like someone is there for me no matter what. And it's not like one day it's on, one day it's off. Like it's a consistent love. And it's a choice every day that both me and my partner are making.
Love it. Thank you. Yue, what about you?
Mine is, I hope this is not a mind fuck for people, but it's using very intentional words. It's a mutual, consistent choice to expand our capacity for growth. And it's mutual. We all know what that is. It's a choice because we're constantly making this choice. But to expand the capacity for growth means we may not always be growing, but we are willing to expand our heart or expand our mind so that it can hold this potential for growth. Because I don't want to place that pressure for growth all the time, but at least someone's willing to expand.
Yeah, I love that. My definition, I don't know what else. It was either on Tumblr. I saw an image, or maybe it was a newspaper or a magazine. It was a Viagra ad, but it was two older people, maybe in their 70s, in separate bathtubs, and they were on the Grand Canyon. Like they've come a long way. They were both facing outward, looking down at the world, and the only thing connecting them was their hand. So they were in separate tubs. And I remember seeing this image and thinking, "Oh, this is actually what love looks like." Because my old definition would be them two in a jacuzzi
together
on top of each other, facing each other.
Straddling.
And also being in a jacuzzi. I mean, you can only be in a jacuzzi for 30 minutes, and
right.
Claustrophobic.
Oh no,
and
Julie
would.
sustainable.
I was there for an hour.
Julie can do a few hours.
Right. And of course, the jacuzzi is hot and sexy and steamy and all that, but it's not sustainable. And just this idea of two people in their own tubs, only connected with their hand.
Wow.
That landed for me.
Is it the independence but interconnection that resonates?
Interdependence. Instead of codependency. It's two people who bring their own lives, their own life containers together, who decide to do life together. And then the other piece of my definition of love is that it's greater than its parts. I think that once we swim past the breakers, work through activation, and really stay in something, as long as it's honest to us, I'm not saying if it's abusive or anything, but working through our own shit, I think that then love can become greater meaning. And this is what I think is the magic and miracle of love. It's actually meant to heal us. It's meant to give us a corrective experience. And it's like, what other creature on this planet has that, where you can love someone and that love that you guys build can actually heal each other,
Yeah. Oh, I love that. But wait, back to the Viagra ad.
Yes, back to Viagra.
Why do you think, what was the meaning of that ad for Viagra then?
I obviously
it's very deep.
They were naked, but it was I think less on the nose about elderly people making love. They were on the Grand Canyon naked in bathtubs.
Maybe
So
it's like it's
date
time
night or
to
something.
reconnect again or something. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. And it's like it's like their version of date night or something. I mean, it wasn't realistic because I don't who's gonna be able to put bathtubs on top of the Grand Canyon. It was very Instagrammy.
A
Visually, it was
lot
very cool.
missing here.
Yeah.
this is very deep for a Viagra ad.
Yes. So I don't know, but that was my definition, or that is my
Interesting.
definition.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know what I just thought of that was, I think, so jarring for me is that we all think that dating is the hard part, right? And it is, by all
Yeah.
means. I don't want to
Yes.
say it's not hard. It's
Yeah.
different hard. There's a lot of pain that comes from things not working out in the almost situations, the almost breakup, as you call it, like the relationship, all of that. And it's very challenging that way. But I think what I wasn't necessarily prepared for was once you're in a relationship that is healthy, that is secure, there is a different type of hard. That's that confronting yourself.
Unfamiliar.
Yes.
If you're not used to that, it's uncomfortable.
It is, for sure.
Yeah. I think also depending on our story, a lot of times we'll find safety, we'll find something that is healthy, and we will label it as boring, or it's because the chaos isn't there, or
Yep.
it doesn't feel like a Korean drama. We're like, this is flat. I had better sex with a guy who was abusive to me and stuff, and it's because it was very sticky, and it was very the lightning in the bottle isn't always a healthy thing. It can be a dysfunctional dynamic.
It definitely can. And I think that goes back to what you were saying with healing, is love is about healing together.
Yeah.
But the very person who can help you heal is the very person who can hurt you the most too.
Sure.
So I think we get this question a lot. It's like, at what point do you leave a relationship? And I think that's the answer, is when you no longer can heal each other. You're actually hurting each other.
Ooh, I love that answer. That's a great answer. I get that question often too, and I think for me, and of course, there's no blanket answer, right? Every relationship is unique and different. But for me, it's like when you've done everything you can, and you start breaking up with yourself.
That's a good one.
That's really good.
Yeah.
It's one of the things we talk about too in our book, is like the settling paradox, that no one wants to settle. Everyone, it's like the biggest fear of daters is to settle, yet we're settling for situationships or unfulfilling relationships. And there's many reasons why that happens. I think a big one is that we don't actually know what love feels like. It's like what you were saying, John, if it feels boring, so I'm going to go for the exciting person, or it's just, continuing to go down the patterns of what's familiar to us. And, breaking up with that and realizing like that actually isn't self-serving is a big part of eventually finding the right person, is letting go of all these, things that are not serving us, but it's a really hard thing for people to do.
Yeah. What would you say, just a few things, how would you, if you're single and you're listening or watching this and you're like, how would I know that if I'm even dateable? I mean, I think I am, and my friends think I'm cool, and I think I'm fairly attractive. But how do I know if I'm dateable? What would you say to that? And then also, plus, can you give them a few tips how to be more dateable? If that makes sense.
Great question. We think that we're all dateable. Everyone's dateable. You are dateable. And that's because it's by default. Humans are built to do life with other humans.
Yeah.
We're meant to be, with others and attract others. So if it's so natural to our biology, then we are naturally dateable. But I think modern dating has made us become more contrived in what being dateable means, so that we are farther and farther from our authentic selves.
Right.
So to be more dateable really actually means just getting back to your authentic self, like who is the core you, and ignore the noise that's around modern dating right now.
I love that answer. I talk a lot about the pseudo self and the solid self, and to be more dateable, I think to attract instead of chase. You got to be more in your solid self, which is what you're talking about, more your authentic self.
Yeah. One of the biggest revelations we had from, our 10 years of doing Dateable is that you actually don't need to be good at dating the way it is today, the way it's designed today. That's not to say that you shouldn't date. That's not to say dating is flawed, but the way that modern dating is, it's all around disconnection. It's like, who can show the least interest? Or I'm going to spend all this time crafting the perfect profile and message, but I'm not actually even talking to anyone. So there's so much disconnection happening. So I think to be dateable, and this is like a real, this is the shift that we're talking about, is like, how do we get back to that place of connection? Because that's what's missing today. So, we go into a date, it's always like me versus you. Like, I need to one up this person, or I can't show my cards because, then I don't want to be the one rejected. What if we looked at this person as our partner, even if it's for an hour, something that makes us feel more connected? Like, how do we approach this as a team, what you would do in a relationship, instead of the way that we're approaching dating that's so combative?
What are some ways that we can actually put the shield down and connect more, be more authentic? What are some ways that we can do that, especially in today's swipe culture?
We think that this sounds so simple, but it's follow your curiosity.
Yeah.
Don't follow a script. Don't follow what someone else told you to do. We've had many people who are like, give me a list of questions to ask on a date. Well, you don't know how that conversation's going to go, but if you follow your curiosity, then you don't actually care about where it goes. You just care about what you find out about this person who's in front of you, this human being. And I heard this beautiful story today of an author who wrote a book all based on her taking a walk, and a drop of water fell on her head. She looked up and she saw a dress hanging on someone's balcony, and the dress inspired her to investigate who could be wearing this dress. Who's this person who washes their dress, who hand washes their dress? And she wrote an entire book around this. And I feel like we are missing the point here in dating. It's like we go in thinking we need to understand all the list of things that we need to check off with this person, when it's like we just want this person to unfold in front of us. They are a story waiting to be told.
Yeah. And I think there's so much that's done from a feeling of like protection. Like, this red flag in ick culture is so toxic, in my opinion, because I think it's really just looking for everything that's wrong with the person. And of course, we're not talking about like the real red flags that like wreak havoc to a relationship. But what is happening is that people are throwing up red flag for every last thing. Like, they wore an ugly belt or something that's not a red flag in terms of like the way you're treated. And I just think about like, would you want to go on a date where someone is like nitpicking everything about you? If we're showing up to dates that way, like, how is that actually fostering any connection of any type? So I think, how can we get rid of that is maybe step one of just like, I'm going to go in and meet this new human being and follow my curiosity and discover them for who they are. I don't have the Daterview list of questions that I'm trying to check off and make sure they're answering a certain way. And I'm not checking for all the red flags and icks, but just treating them like a human being. I think the magic of dating is gone right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Put the black light down.
Yes.
And if you're looking for something that you're not going to like, you're going to find it no matter what.
We all have red flags.
Well,
all of us do.
I mean, no one's perfect. And so you're going to find stains if that's all you're looking for.
Every time.
Yeah.
In everything. In every area of your life, because we actually have a section about limiting beliefs. That's what the limiting beliefs spotlight are, the things that you're looking for that you think are the reason why you're single, or the reason why this person's not right for you, or the reason why your life may not be going the way it is. That's all you're going to find. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely the fixed mindset over the growth mindset. I want to leave on hope, and I want to leave my listeners feeling more encouraged than discouraged.
Yeah. Yes.
So how would you, what do you guys have to say? It's putting a lot on you guys. How would you do that? How would you give the listener a little more hope and optimism in
I mean, I
today's days?
actually think our book is hopeful, even though it starts off with all the challenges and why dating is harder than ever before. Like when our editor read it, she's like, it feels like I got a hug at the end. And that is what we want to leave people, is that hope, because we actually believe, after doing this podcast for 10 years, that this is the best time to find love. Whenever we meet people, they're always like, dating is the worst. It's so terrible, right? And we actually both didn't feel that way. Like, we felt like we met people that we've had relationships that have way far exceeded our expectations and what we thought was possible. We've seen it with members of our community. I was looking back at this photo from like a meetup that happened like in 2021, so like a couple years ago at this point. And pretty much everyone in that photo is in like happy, healthy relationships right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it is absolutely possible to find love and find your person in today's world. And I think all the choice makes it that you're finding someone and not just falling into it either, like finding someone that you can really build and create with.
Mm-hmm.
But we really need to get out of our own way, and what modern dating is putting in front of us. So as soon as you can recognize that, of all the traps, all the things that are causing us to not, actually find that type of enjoyment in dating, once we block that out and do it a different way, it's absolutely possible.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
UA,
And,
a little bit of hope.
the hope is this is the best time to date. I know that sounds contrarian, but the hardest times to do anything are the most ripe for opportunity, for change, for something different to happen. And for the last decade or so, every resource we've had has been about how to play in the modern dating game, how to just stay at this level. But now, people who listen to your podcast, who listen to our podcast, you're all listening right now because you are ready for a change. You're like, I don't want to figure this out anymore because this is messy. I want to figure a way out. That's different. And so I think there are a lot of people who are in the same boat. And if you are able to implement some of these changes, getting back to your authentic self, clearing the noise, getting rid of what's not serving you, understanding what you authentically want, you are able to find others who are in the same boat. And we will, maybe it's a plane, because we're all going to fly out of this thing together and leave all that, leave the messiness for the people who still want to play in that game.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you. I'm going to say that when you are single, because we're so trying to find who we can invest in and trying to find love, we forget that the growth soil is the richest, I think, when we're single, because there's no relationship dynamic, only you. And so now's the time to be dateable by working on yourself or by doing things that light you up. For me, it was buying a motorcycle and getting into fitness and doing all these things, go on trips. Dating yourself makes you more dateable. If you're not dating yourself, then there's going to be a desperation. There's going to be you trying to find love and then putting so much weight on that. If that doesn't work out, then, there's a huge cliff to fall off. And that energy, I think, can be what, brings the plane down. So I think being dateable is knowing that the growth soil is rich and to actually be dating yourself while you're looking for love.
Yeah.
So you're saying you work out not as a thirst trap, but you actually do it for yourself, John?
Yes.
We love to endearingly call it master dating, like when you're dating yourself. Yeah. That is the buzzword that was going around our community for quite a while. People would post their master dating photos of them like at a bar themselves or on a hike or doing something they loved. Because like what you were saying, it's like life doesn't stop. It's not a layover. It's a time for exploration. And I think the skill building that if you let it happen in dating, like, it really sucks when someone ghosts you. But if you can build skills around how to emotionally regulate and, even like have a conversation with that person and practice open communication, all of these are skills that are going to serve you when you do finally find that relationship.
Yeah. You weigh at 51 and being a dad, I don't think I could build any kind of traps made of thirst.
Oh.
I've given that up. But hey, let's end on a little serendipity. I just noticed if you're listening, they have purple mics, a very specific kind of purple mic. I have a black one, and I just realized to fit in. Look at this. This is
it's like your pseudo purple mic.
It's like it's like the exact same
His
color.
LaCroix can. It really
It's
is.
exactly wow. Look at this.
You
It's
can
like
join the Dateable fam, John, with your.
It's the Voltron lions coming together to create the giant.
Oh my god! If you can create a mic flag out of that LaCroix can, that would
be amazing.
That would look so good.
Anyway,
you definitely be sponsored for a life.
Where can we find you? And I'm assuming the book's wide.
Yep, the book is ready, and you can find it pretty much at any retailer, and then howtobedateable.com. It's all there, and Dateable Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts.
And if you find both of our books next to each other at a bookstore, please take a picture.
That would be
serendipity. So amazing.
That would be amazing. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you guys for all your work, and not only the podcast, but now the book. And just the dialogue you guys have been creating for 10 years. That's a lot of conversation.
Time.
Yeah.
Yep. Still going.
Where can we find you as far as social?
At Dateable Podcast is the handle we have for everything.
Cool. Awesome. Yep. All right. Check out their podcast, get their book, and work on you. Thank you for listening. Be well.